Morning, Dave. Yeah, this is actually a bit late. I spent about 25 minutes looking for a switch for the Atari Jag. I've been everywhere, been in the garage, upstairs. It's literally been under my feet the whole time. So I've got a box full of switches basically that I didn't label. So I walk past it every day, and I've got that used to seeing it and never give it a thought. So I would have started about 20 minutes ago, but I've been hunting for that box. Let's crack the door open, get some fresh air. Morning, Larry. Didn't spot your message there. It didn't. I don't think it showed up on stream at first with it just starting. So today we're going to be doing an Atari Jag. This is the same customer as that PC Engine the other day. I think yesterday morning we were on it. It should be fully working. Nice clean shell as well, it's all been cleaned up. Right, so we've got just the customer's console. The first thing we'll need to do is actually test this works. The good thing with the Jag is it's already got RGB native built in and pretty good as well, so it's not that bad, just a straight RGB cable. And then for the power supply to this, you want, I've got an official Jaguar here, which is positive outer. So this is basically one of the most common. It's a 5.5mm jack with what I call inverted polarity, where the positive is on the outside tip, whereas all modern things, the positive is on the inside tip. So this is most common in Game Gears. I think the only problem with Game Gears is different regions have different polarities, so you still need to make sure, if you're going to use a Game Gear 1, it's the right orientation. Yeah, I didn't have a Jag either, but I haven't really played them much either. I think I've got 2 or 3 of them. I've got 2 of them left, I think. I brought them initially for repairing, and it was actually Crossface Gaming in the US, who now runs our Retro 6 US store. He's the one that got me into them and into repairing them. That's what he was known for a lot, is repairing these Jags. So he kind of got me into that. Then I brought them so I can repair them a lot, but I haven't really played them, to be honest, much at all. I should probably try and find a good game on them. And then the controllers are crazy funky as well. Like, I don't think there's another controller remotely like the Jag controller. It's almost like a TV remote for teletext. Actually, we'll put it through the OSSC so you can see what's going on. And then with these as well, you have On the top of there it literally says top, because this can go in both ways. I don't think it does damage going in backwards, I can't remember. I have done it before and I don't think it killed anything. And the one thing with these is they won't turn on at all without a game in. You won't get any power light. And that's because, similar to like the Atari Lynx, they pass the power pins through the cartridge port. So the cartridge is responsible for shorting out, I think it's pins 33 and 34 on this port. So when you plug this in, it shorts 2 pins and lets the power pass through. No idea why they bothered doing that. Maybe something to do with the power regulator if you leave this plugged in, and the circuit design. They didn't want to leave something running, maybe. So if we insert this and we pull up, where are we? Pull this up over the top. Oh yeah, they're definitely expensive. For the games though you can get, we sell these as well. A Jag cart, so a game drive, and then just load up all the games on. So this has got every game. If you wanted to play them on a real console but also not spend that much money on the actual games, then that's an option for you. Right, so if we switch to AV1 and turn on, this should be a fully working system. So the red Jaguar is saying it's having trouble reading the game. So let's just do the usual trick. IPA the game, and I know these games work because they're mine, so it's got to be the cartridge port. And then try again. There we go. So that's working. We'll just have a quick play to make sure, you know, the general functionality, sound, everything like that's working fine. Recapping a SNES is one of the easiest, to be honest. There's quite a lot of room in there. There's not much plastic near the caps. So I'd say in terms of recapping, yeah, it's probably a decent one to start on. And if you damage the traces, they're not too bad, but they do have a funky silk screen and kind of ground plane, making it not that obvious if you tear traces where they go. So yes, in one way it's beginner friendly, but also if you tear a trace, the schematic, so it's repairable, but it's not quite as easy to trace where broken traces end up. I definitely want easy because I don't think I've even played this game. I definitely need a way to. I need almost another monitor for playing the games instead of looking at me delayed live stream. What am I doing up at this hour? I'm actually up a little bit late. I was looking for switches for 20 minutes. I love the early mornings. Amiga CD TV, yeah, I've fixed a couple. And then I stopped fixing things like that because they were just too rare and not worth the hassle that I'd have to deal with them, basically. We have too many consoles in, is the bottom line. So we had to try and kind of focus on what we were doing. Why am I on the ground? Or why am I getting shot? What's going on? Oh, getting shot from behind. Wow. Oh, this is another game that's nearly impossible to play with stream lag. By the time I let go, everything's already disappeared. Yeah, it's got one. Wow, this is difficult. I thought at first I was on the floor. I thought it was Can I move? Yes, there we go. You can just move out the way. Whee! If anyone knows how to play this, definitely let me know. I don't know whether you just run away and turn and shoot. I think the first one I played on this, the reason I brought it was Die Hard. But I can't find that game. I've lost it in the cleanup somewhere. And the Die Hard game's pretty good. We played that for a while. Oh yeah, dead. So I think that's working. Hopefully. Let's just take a look at the game drive as well, because the game drive can indicate problems that normal games might not show up because it uses all the pins and the ERC channel to the Jerry chip. So it's always good to boot with a flash card to make sure it's definitely working as well. Yeah, I can definitely believe that with Jag. There was a lot of stuff with the older systems and all the licensing, and it's like the, what is it, the Divers edition for the Dreamcast. I did a video on that, repairing them. They go for between 15 and 30,000 pound, and they're just shaped like a diver's helmet. But it's just literally, when you open it up, it's a Dreamcast with the top taken off and screwed into a plastic housing. It's crazy how like low tech it is, but because almost nobody brought them, they're worth a fortune now. But there was a lot of random licensing stuff going on. Oh, let's do that. Oh, Doom. Yes, let's do Doom. How would you start this? There we go, B. This, yeah, there is. It's called the toilet that goes on here, the Jaguar CD, and then you have Jaguar CD games. So it actually has an add-on to play the CD games, and these are the things I was on about with these controllers. So see how they have, this is a nice sealed one, but I'll show you. All these buttons here, they can be changed per game. So the games used to come with these, so little nice inserts, and these little tabs go into the grooves. So if we put that game in and load it up, you'd basically insert this like that, and now you have a little insert in your controller with rewind, fast forward, up, down, left, right, close, look down, look up. So you can make basically extra buttons here. Wow, let me turn Doom down a bit. That's a bit over the top. Yeah, so you can basically reuse all these buttons, but if you didn't have these, if you lost the inserts and you try and play the games, you're like just looking at numbers and you just get so confused. But quite a lot of people don't know that about the Jag, even when they own them. They don't realise you can have the inserts for them extra buttons. Morning, yeah, glad I could help on the Game Gear. Is it something you've now fixed fully? What was the sort of the problem and what ended up fixing it? For people on TikTok, there isn't necessarily another stream. If you look now at the screen, whoa, there, the message is popping up. This is streaming on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook and TikTok, and the messages from everywhere, usually everywhere except TikTok, pop up. Sometimes TikTok pops up as well, but the chat integration isn't great, so we've got chat from everywhere, but it should merge in so most people see all the chats. Right, so before I start working, it'd be rude to not play some Doom. Yeah, this is a flash card. So we have the game drive, we sell them on retro6.co.uk, and then mods and parts, Atari Jag, and this is called the game drive. It's made by a guy in the UK called Retro HQ. Right then, I'm going to go on to full screen for my, I'll do that that way, there we go. So I just want to have a quick go of this. Oh yeah, can you, oh, I don't think you can strafe in, can you do it with that? Oh no, don't tell me there's no strafing in, or strafing, whichever you prefer. I don't think there is. Wow, that's going to be impossible. So the Jag, unless I'm mistaken, you can't strafe or strafe. Or can you hold? Oh yes, you can. So you have to hold C. Wow, this is a, oh, this is a confusing button layout. I do not like this controller. Oh, the sound's disappeared. Oh no, the sound's just crazy delayed. Yeah, I think if I was coming to stream gameplay, I definitely need to be playing on straight out the console and a second feed to you guys, because this is like mad delayed. Yeah, wow. Impossible to play, but still pretty cool. I prefer the PC version. This looks a little bit dark to me. Let's try get the demon up top. There we go. Come on, delay. There we go. Wow. Yeah, the drive works in all regions. Yeah, so this is all good. There's no issues with this console, like the customer said. So we're good with that. I guess we can play after. Now we should probably do a little bit of work. So I'll just pack up my stuff, move it out of the way a minute, because this is just going to be a full recap and a region mod switch, so that we can switch between regions. If anyone has a Jag as well and can recommend games, then that'd be cool, because like I said, I've only really played Die Hard and Doom on this. I've never really given it a chance to play all the other games. And I'm not a fan, I must say I'm not a fan of the controller though. The controller is very hard. I almost want to, makes me want to make, to be honest, I bet you can get a Bluetooth controller for it, but with all them extra buttons, it's probably one of them controllers similar to the N64. It's going to be very difficult to replace for some games, because they want to use all these random buttons that don't exist. Maybe a custom arcade stick, like a classic arcade stick with tons of buttons, and you could remap them. And make a little Raspberry Pi so you can plug it in. That would be pretty cool. Zool, yeah, I've heard of that. I think I've actually got that as a game cartridge somewhere. What would you say the best game on it is to play? Or a few games? Because like I say, that's something I want to try and play, but I think there's just so many on the cartridge, and running through them blindly, I could be there forever. I kind of want to see what people think are good games and start with them. I think I might have figured out, if somebody on TikTok wants to send a message, I think I might have figured out how to get the messages to show up. It's a bit awkward, but I'll see if they show up on my integrated chat if you send a message. Busby, Zool, Atari Karts. Ooh, what's Atari Karts? That sounds, it's not Mario Kart, is it? We've got to get that one off yet. Let me tab over to TikTok, see if it was... yeah, so the chat didn't work. The TikTok chat's just completely random whether it works or not. So I just have to keep tabbing between both screens. Yeah, sleep. I've been asleep for about 5 hours. That's plenty of sleep for me. Let me see if I can shrink this chat and move this one over to the side. Right, there. Probably best the other side. I think. I'm just trying to... Bear with me a minute, I'm trying to position these windows so I can kind of see the TikTok window that's open separate and see your guys' chat still. So that will be there. Well, that's not too bad. The monitor's a bit smaller now, but if I can deal with that, if that isn't too bad being small, I can see both chats now without having to keep tab. So it should be a bit quicker to reply. And this is one of the annoying things on the... well, quite a lot of the retro consoles, when they put these metal shields over with all these bent, twisted and folded tabs that you have to get a pry tool under and go around push in and bend up like that. It's really annoying. So I've got to go around and do all them. So it is actually nice. It's actually in a Mario Kart. We're gonna have to play that then when we fix this. If it was called Atari Kart, did you see it on the pop-up when? Did you happen to notice it on that menu when we were streaming just? But it should be on there. If not, I can download it and chuck it on. Definitely gonna have to play that. Atari Kart. Just didn't give too much shits about ripping people off back in the day, I don't think. Welcome in, Ryan. Glad you're up early as well. It's always the best time before everybody else wakes up and interrupts your day. I just wish it was light. I hate the dark mornings at the minute. Just been outside for a quick walk before this and it's just pitch black, so you don't enjoy it as much. It's just a bit miserable, isn't it? Winter blues basically, with dark, cold, damp weather. Yeah, the owners jump in on the live sometimes of like certain things that both the owners of the consoles and the makers of some of the mods sometimes appear. I was doing I can't remember what it was. It was a handheld. I think the customer had said something about it working or not, and then a power LED it was on a Game Boy Pocket, and he said it was working up until a while ago, and he sent it in. I did it as a free warranty repair because it was just outside of warranty, like over a year. It might have been more than that. And I was saying when I opened it up, there's no LED in here, so it can't be, so he must be lying. And then, not like in an insulting way, but just like a bit of a jib. And then he joined the stream after. I was like, yeah, I was telling you there was no LED in, so maybe you were mistaken. But yeah, sometimes they jump in at the worst times. And then we've had like I think the maker of one of the Xbox dashboards jump on some of them, so we do get, obviously I presume there's not that many people doing this, so it should pop up on people that are interested in retro and are in the scene fairly easily, especially when it starts growing. I mean, we've got, look at the YouTube numbers at the minute, we've like quadrupled the YouTube viewings overnight. I've only been streaming for a few weeks, and the last couple of days YouTube started to really pop now, which is good, so I'm sure we'll see many more people. Xbox upgrades, just be a bit more specific and I can give you some advice. Fully modded Game Gear, all the buttons, buttons, LEDs behind the edge of the screen. Will there be any issues? Need to know. Not really. It depends how you're doing the LEDs. If you're just going to install them and wire them in, there's no issue. If you're going to do pulse width controlled for brightness and stuff, you need to really filter them through a capacitor, inductor, capacitor to try and stop some of that backfeeding noise. You're still going to get it. You'd have to use a double filter if you really want. It's something I'm still kind of trying to work on, is eliminating high frequency noises from retro consoles. There is ways, but you need to use like a 2-stage filter, not just a 1. But generally you won't have any issues regardless, especially if you're just lighting them up static. Alright, so now we're inside. We have these 2 screws I always forget about. So I always forget about these 2. And then obviously you've got the cartridge ones. I remember the cartridge ones. I take them out, and I normally then try and yank the Atari Jag out of its case before realising I've forgot the 2 screws at the bottom. And the only ones that are, in fact, they're not different, are they? No, so those 2 are identical to the outside case. So if you just remember, the only 2 silver ones are here. Everything else is the same size screw. Morning from Greece, welcome in. There's so many people saying it's early. There's not early, this is pretty normal for me. I am drinking Oshi, just basically trying to lose some weight. So I've been trying to lose weight for about 6 months. I've only lost like a stone in 6 months, so I've been away, and when I went Tenerife, I said when I come back I'm going to really hit the weight loss. So started going back to the gym, trying to walk a bit every day, with eating less, obviously. Trying to eat just tiny meals, like 100-calorie meals throughout the day. So even at dinner I'm only having like 300 calories, just keeping it like often and regular. All the good stuff people say you should do, and you just, you never do you? You don't do all of them. So I'm just trying to go at it a bit crazy with the fitness side of it. But I can tell you something, I feel a million times better within literally 2 days of doing it. Like, I feel alert, mentally better. Can't explain it. I've literally only been doing it like hardcore, if you will, for a few days, but just feel way better than myself. So I think there's something about the almost starvation, it kicks your body in, and you do genuinely feel better. Ah, you're up late, are you then? 2 a.m. See, I used to do late nights, but I've gone more of an early morning person. But yeah, I used to work through the night often and then go bed and wake up like 7 o'clock-ish. But now I'm kind of the opposite. I'll go bed about 9:30, 10 o'clock, watch an hour or two of TV, and then get up early. Project Stella is a HDMI, well, it's a BIOS mod plus a HDMI mod for the Xbox original. I'm going to probably make my own BIOS for Sir BIOS, like a Pico Raspberry Pi basically, that sits and runs Sir BIOS, and then I can write some code to allow us to get a much cheaper HDMI output. But at the minute, the Project Stella is known as the best HDMI output basically. Demand is quite big. Like, we're in business. We've been in business for, I think, 7 years. I keep thinking it's 5. It's about 7 years. And we have to turn down consoles every single day now. Have limited what we work on because we were getting 200 plus consoles and we could not keep up. And even now, with reducing them, we're still constantly over 100. So we've got a demand for them, but we've obviously been doing it for years. So it's part of a built business, I guess, if you find the work. Ooh, thanks for the tip, Ryan. That's the first one we've had for Rusty's new bed. He's passed out on the bed at the minute. For the Jag with no sound, funnily enough, doing this first because what we're doing here is swapping these caps. So this is one of the caps here. I mentioned the other day about caps needing to be low ESR for certain circuits. So this one specifically, the 2200 microfarad, because of this regulator, needs to be very low ESR, and aluminiums aren't. So in our cap kit, the one we replace it with, this is a specifically low ESR cap. Otherwise, your 5-volt rail is going to be wavy. But a very common issue with this is the audio IC or regulator here, I believe the audio one is, fails. And it might be due to these caps, it might be due to the amps. So I'd swap. The fact you've got no picture or anything at the minute, I'd start with the recap. Hey, welcome from the Philippines. I'm not sure how you pronounce your name though, sorry. It'll be, is that Jazel? Let me know which one it is. Jazel or Jeezel, or am I completely wrong? You might have to spell it phonetically for me. And I think what I'm going to do on these, I think we'll do a conventional aluminium recap, because you guys have seen me do the ceramic surface mount caps for a while. So let's just show you a conventional recap, just for the sake of it. They work just as good, it's just I prefer ceramics. So I might as well do you a kind of what I'd say is old school recap. And we'll start with, let's start with the power circuit. So we'll start over here with the 220, so we need him, and 330. Using the re-PCB board for LEDs, yeah, you're going to have no issues. Like I said, it wouldn't matter whether it's a re-PCB or not in terms of LEDs, so long as you're not pulsing them for brightness. If you are, it's still not the end of the world. Just install them and see if you get noise, basically. Right, so what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to hot air these off. I'm just going to do the way I would do. So I'll position it like this. I'm going to get the hot air, 480 degrees, 80% airspeed. I'm going to go above. Now, one thing that I always forget that actually is good practice for if you're going to hot air some caps off is reflow the pins with some leaded solder, and it does lower the melting point quite significantly. You don't need to go as crazy as actual low melt solder. You don't need to go that crazy, but touching up with some leaded solder makes this a bit easier for hot airing off. Project Stellar aren't the best anymore. That's the kind of thing I want to get a HDMI mod that just runs from Cebios, but what would you recommend in terms of HDMI port? Because the Project Stellar has a legacy HDMI port, but the Xbox already outputs RGB, so it's pretty simple to convert RGB to HDMI. You can even probably do it just with integrated chips and no other logic, which is probably what that Project Stellar HDMI port does. But I'd like to have an option where we can do a HDMI port without needing the Project Stellar, definitely. RetroGem alternative, I haven't really made any HDMI mods yet, but yeah, there'll be tons of HDMI mods I'll be doing. At the minute though, there's some quite good alternatives coming out from High-Speedido. I've always kind of used them if I haven't got a product. I think they're just better than Funny Plane, and Funny Plane are mainly handhelds now. High-Speedido have gone into all the desktop consoles, and it's one of the companies I used to work with when I was very first in the business, and I had them write some custom code for me on their hardware in order to make the screen better, because I found issues with the screen. And then I ended up making the clean screen for quite a few consoles, but I think they were good company, quality-wise, and to work with. I've got Andy on WeChat, so I talk to directly to High-Speedido, basically, for ordering. Morning guys in TikTok, sorry, I've got tons of messages flying in. I'm trying to keep up on them. Shouldn't be too bad now we're recapping though, because it's just a waiting game. So you can see this is the largest cap with the largest heat dissipation. So this is still probably taking like a minute, and you don't want to apply any force, you just want to warm up and just gently move, and no tugging force so that you don't basically rip traces. Once you've done that, while the board's still warm, we'll go in from the top, and if we take a look here, where are we? There's the caps we've removed. And then to clear them holes ready for the fresh caps, let me just focus on that, because this is going to be probably the main angle we're working on. Oh, I didn't connect to my camera. 1 second. I'll start keeping the board warm before it cools down while I'm waiting. There we go, focus. Better. Yeah, so now to clear these holes, I use a desolder pump with a rubber silicone tip, just so we never tear any traces. This is the foolproof way of doing recaps without tearing traces. So as soon as you take the caps out, try to keep the board warm. There is slight risks on the Jag sometimes of popcorn in the inside of the board if you're not careful, even if you are careful sometimes. A lot of it's to do more with moisture in the board and not pre-drying it. If we get any signs of popcorning, where this goes light, the dark green goes light, and it starts bubbling, then we will probably stop and dry the whole board, because it will be a sign that there's moisture in the board. There we go, that's that one, and you can see this resistor bouncing because that's already liquefied. And it's mainly because these two caps are going to be the hardest. They're on a heavy ground plane and a heavy power plane. So you want to do these. There we go. And now, because of, as I say, the board will be that hot around here, you want to just inspect and make sure none of these kind of bounced off while we were doing that, which they haven't. And then we also want to check on the other side, because there's components on the other side, make sure nothing's fell off here. And we're fine. So that can happen on, really, them two are the hardest in terms of heat tolerance, and you have to get the board that hot. The rest are fairly simple compared to that. This is not a repair so much, it's a working system, but we're doing a recap. So we've just tested it, it all works fine, and now we're doing a full recap, and I'm just going to do a recap with aluminium caps basically. So it's a fully working system, but it's having preventative maintenance. We're swapping all the caps before they start leaking and then rotting the board, so it's good to do basically. Right, so with them clear, they're the old ones, and because we're swapping these out for, I know this is live streamed and I can always point the customer to it, but this is what I typically do. If I'm swapping aluminiums for aluminiums, I always keep the originals in a tub and send them back to the customer, just so there's absolute proof that we're not dodgy dealing and, you know, not replacing their caps, because it is, unfortunately, part of the industry that a lot of people scam people when they say they do recaps and they don't actually do it. And this one, I think, is okay height-wise. Yeah, identical height, so doesn't need to be bent down. Yeah, I can reach out to. Do you want me to send Andy a message now, see if he can support the X9000? It's similar to, funnily enough, the PS1 7K, the X station we did yesterday doesn't support that either. I think the 7K and the 9s are some of the hardest to support. It's possibly just because they don't even have the system over there and not enough demand yet. But let me just log in and I'll send him a message. We've had a couple of that as well, where we're seeing a bot say refrain from foul language, but it doesn't tell me anywhere what they've said, so I don't know whether the bot's been over restraining or whether he's actually blocked something. Schematics, either reverse engineer it and draw them yourself, or most of them are online for most systems, so it's not really that hard. We have a retro6.wiki where I post some of them. If you go to retro6.wiki, then on the home page scroll down and click public files, then you'll have a link in there with tons of schematics that I've dumped that everyone can access. And now, I don't know whether it's still up, but I now use a different platform, so you might not see them updated now, but it should still be there. Right, I'll just ask Andy if he's going to support. Will you support the X9000 variant of PS1 for HDMI? They'll probably get back to me. It's their working hour in China at the minute, so I'll probably get a reply while we're on stream and I can let you know what they say. Yeah, I use the HDMI for N64 as well. I use high-speed Edo, and the irony was I did a few TikToks on it where I was showing off the comparison between, I can't remember what the best one was meant to be at the time, you know, the classic best N64 HDMI, and it was terrible. The colour profile was way off, everything was dark, you lost detail. And I did a side-by-side comparison because customers had wanted us to fit the alternative. I can't remember what it was. And I'd just finished modding a high-speed Edo one. And I did a side-by-side comparison on TikTok and showed off the differences, but didn't really get any attention. I don't think people were that bothered about it, but I was just amazed that sometimes it's a lot more about the brand's name than it is the quality. So sometimes they just get a reputation. I think that's like true of like in the Game Boy scene. The funny playing screens, they haven't been the best, I don't think, ever. There's been a brief period where they were okay, but like High Speed Edo were better, Cloud something or other were better. Clean screen's obviously the best by far, and we've had so many people that have used every other screen and then picked the clean screen because they didn't know it existed and genuinely emailed us saying it's hands down the best screen for the Game Boy. And yet ours is the least popular, I'd say, for the Game Boy in terms of volume. So it's not always about popularity as well. It can be your best quality stuff can be something that you never know about. Right, so that's 2 caps on there. Oh, I've soldered that one in a bit wonky. Maybe move him down a bit. This iron actually working? Yeah. There we go. I think I've got a delivery already. Oh yeah, it's 7:10, it's quite late. I was going to say, who's delivering at 6 in the morning, bro? Started a bit late. Hot air, use a quick 861 DW, or clones of it, but the factory that make the quick rebrand it. So if you see something similar, then it's just going to be a rebranded version. That they don't use, it's not their make quick, it's they use a factory and rebrand it basically. Alright, so this one is going to be a 4.7 microfarad. So that's one. This one we're just going to go in from the top. And if we warm up the board around it, we shouldn't have any popping caps on us. Should be able to get it from this side. We could do it from the other side, I'm just going to do it from this side for now, and just stay away from the cap. And just more heat around the base, see if we can do it this way. Really old sound card. No, this is an Atari Jaguar, so retro console. We're just recapping it, putting new caps on. Yeah, I'm going to flip this over. It's a bit more awkward, but a bit safer. We'll do it from the other side. And I haven't bothered putting low melt solder, well, not low melt solder, but I haven't bothered putting leaded solder on these because these are smaller caps and they just come straight out, so no need for that. So the 4.7, while it's warm, if we remember, just get the desolder pump on it. Set, and then all in one step, you're ready to put the new cap in. And then one thing, this is where the whole scam of recapping comes in, because what you'll normally do now, say we're working through these caps and I want to make sure that I haven't forgotten what I've done. What you'll typically do is get a Sharpie and I'll go to the caps we've worked on and you'll pour a little blob on. So this is a common thing in the trade, that you kind of mark the caps when you've done them. So this one's the one we've not soldered in what we've just done. And what a lot of people do when they say they're doing a recap for you is they'll literally go around the board, you can guess it by now, blob black solder on, flip it over, blob fresh solder on the pads, and then charge you however much they want to charge you. And unfortunately it's incredibly common. Like, I can't remember the last time we had a console in where a customer says it's been recapped and it actually has been recapped. There's a rare case where that's true. So it is unfortunately quite a big deal. We used to get accused of it all the time. People would be like doubting it and going, "Oh no, they were, you know, they haven't been swapped." And we had to start providing the actual caps, you know, in a tub like this for that reason, because it's nothing to do with the fact I don't think so much they suspected us, it's just that is the common practice in the industry, so people come into it naturally suspect. But now with a lot of the stuff we do being streamed, and people kind of know me more now, they know we're not one of them scammers, if you know what I mean, so we don't have to worry too much now, but it's still common practice. Right, I'm going to whip off probably all of the same value, so I'm going to do the 10, 10, 2.2, so fold him over, 1, 10.50. I think our 10s are all, should probably sort my caps out as well first. Just fix hardware. It depends what you mean. We make hardware, we sell consoles, we fix consoles. I personally do software as well. So, but most of what we do is repairing retro consoles and modding retro consoles and selling them. Basically, that's like the bulk. Right, so there's a 10, 16, 22, 100. Put these in order. So we've got 100, 1's up there, 22's there, 2.2's there. So 10s will be there. There. .47s will go there. 48 for the insignia setup. You're on about like the base rate or a certain work. The base rates on consoles, so you pay for something before we do anything. That's basically to support unpacking the product, getting it out of bubble wrap, checking it into the system, matching the invoice, pre-testing the console, opening the console, cleaning the console if there's any major issues that we wouldn't be able to service it with, closing it back up, testing it again, packaging it again, customer service, emails, all basically the stuff that we have to do on any system to work on it regardless. The base fee covers that, so that when we charge for mods, we don't have to also then every single mod you select, oh, I want an LED installed, we'd have to charge you £40 to open it all up, plus an LED for £1, so it'd be £41. Oh, and then I want the controller port LED, oh, that'll be £41 again. So it basically removes that base rate at the start, so that you can just select the mods you want, basically, without having to pay again. 16 tins. That's there. So those are them two. 10s upright. I'm going to bend all the ones down that aren't the ones I want to swap, and try and keep the other ones upright. So we've got 1, 2, 3. We want to swap there in one go, and then we should have another 3. 47, so we've got a 10 up there. That's 100 we can't move out of the way. And then is that a 10 up there? 20, yeah, 10. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. We've got to remember. So I'll do the top 2 and then these 3 down here in one go. And that just saves on the speed of the work. We can do it a bit quicker by batching these out. There's no plastic around here I need to be concerned about. Yeah, for anything we work on, we always have to make sure we can warranty the work. So it always involves, like I say, even if we don't open the console up, there's still a good amount of work in customer service, and if we did choose to not open something, we've still got to honour and warranty our work. So it would be on us if we decided to not do the job properly, in a sense. But we always like to inspect anything we work on, because if you open it up and it's like rotted inside and you're just going to install Insignia, and then somebody comes along and says, oh, there's you know, my console's now failed and doesn't keep clock, but it's got absolutely nothing to do with the work we've done. We need to kind of know where we stand with that, and to be able to, you know, have good business and good customer service. Yeah, the Doom chair, everyone loves the Doom chair. That was an expense when I didn't have the money. Like, we were at the point where we were struggling with money, and the Doom chair was my kind of naughty thing I wanted to buy, knowing I shouldn't buy it, because I already had a Noble chair, and obviously they're not a necessity, but I really wanted it, so I brought it when I didn't have the money, and now I think it was worthwhile. Brought me good luck. Mike, I think you need to get to the airport. I don't think we're going to accept you late because you're watching a stream. No, it's not a SNES, it's a Atari Jag. You'll see it when we're done, or once I've recapped these I'll show you the casing of it. Basically Atari Jaguar. Not as popular as SNES, I don't believe. The grey one, as in this thing here, remember, that's the metal shield. Oh, this one's got some thermal resistance. Might just put some solder on this one. Don't know why this one's resisting so much. Oh, practically fell out as soon as I've done that now, so it must have been really close to it coming out anyway. This one, I don't know why this one isn't, mustn't have, maybe the V is poor, but the soldering iron on this one is practically making it fall out, but the hot air isn't touching it. Strange one. Yeah, so this one mustn't be. The V going through the board must be quite bad on that. So it's not transferring the heat from the other side very well. So let's just desolder pump that hole from this side. Question is, where were we? Do there. Right, so we're over here, so we just want to desolder pump this hole here. Oh, this mat, it's a no, this is almost a static mat. This is silicon, so it builds up static. Just a heat resistant silicon mat, basically. For anti-static, I've worked on these for years. I've worked on electronics for 15 years. Something I've never had issues with. So obviously there are some components that are sensitive to static. I've never witnessed an issue with it. Never once had anything die from it. So it's just something I'm not overly concerned with. It's one of those things that if I see a problem with it myself, then I'd do something about it, but I don't personally see issues with any form of static. But this is, as you could guess it, this is actually a dog mat. Technically it's still just silicon like a work mat, but this is Leash Boss, it says down the corner. So it's actually sold as a mat for putting like your dog's water and food on, so it doesn't slip around. But I prefer the ones that are flat like this with nothing else on them. So instead of having the mats with, like everybody else seems to have, with all the dints and magnets in and places to store stuff. I want an open canvas where I can put whatever I want on the mat and organise it however I want, or just dump everything like I've just done, depending on what we're doing. That's that one. This one up here. Console as well. Let me just show you now. We've got a breather, so that's the Atari Jag. Obviously the cartridges go in here, which are like this. So these just go in the top horse, like a cartridge-based system. And the controller is the best part. So if you've never seen one before, check out that for a controller. So you just got crazy buttons everywhere, almost like a TV remote. And I've finally figured out a way to get this camera to autofocus, so I've got some bits coming. Oh, not autofocus, sorry, but a way that I can focus it much quicker. Instead of having to use like an iPhone to tap a button and unlock the phone every 2 minutes. So I should be able to change the focus on this top down much quicker after, actually not tomorrow, I think it's coming Wednesday, but that saves me having to buy another Blackmagic camera. Right, so we've done him. Oh, we better get them blobs on before I forget. So we've done him. I should probably blob them before they go on. That's makes a lot more sense, so that you can't forget. The Tiger, I know the company Tiger. I used to have one. Like the Sonic games were made by Tiger, I believe. Or is there an actual, a console model called the Tiger, are you meaning? Glad you're liking the vids, Ryan, as well. Yeah, the corners of this mat catch all the dirt as well, so you'll see me clean the mat off and then I just wipe everything around and then pull it down to a corner, and it works really well. Catches things from rolling off, and I don't like all the added extra stuff that I won't be able to move this mat around and be able to do what I need to do on it. Right, so we're basically almost working down this way of the board, so we've got these two. We'll pull out at the same time, and that's the 10s done then. Let's see what this one's like. I might do. Tell you what, let's just do that. Chuck in some solder on the pads. I know I said you don't need it on some of them, but considering that last one gave me a bit of grief, let's quickly chuck some solder on the ones we're removing. Should help. Yeah, it will be. It's Sonic, because that's where I had the handheld Sonic game. So I think Tiger will have done like a cartridge-based system as well at some point. But they did quite a lot. It was mainly the handheld, black and white, static, like the screens in Casio watches, the old ones, that kind of really old glass technology. They were mainly in the little handhelds like that at the time. Yeah, bending the legs, you see me doing it as well. It's kind of common practice, just because it just keeps them in when you're turning the board upside down. That's basically the reason you bend the caps. Obviously when you flip the board over, you don't want the cap falling out. You can do it without, but all I do to test that is I wiggle slightly and I look to see if the the legs are moving in the joint, and if they are, once you know the fluid, then you can pull with a bit more force to unbend the legs. But you just have to be aware of you don't want to pull while the solder's still hard, and then you tear traces basically. So we just got to clear off this hole here, and this is the audio amp here for the guy that has the issue with no audio. If you manage to get it boot up and it's actually an audio issue as well as no video, then this is the audio amp. And don't forget, you need a game in the Jag for it to boot. So if you've got no game in, you're not going to get sound or video. You need a game in to even power up. Or if you check retro6.wiki and go to the Atari Jag section, then it shows you which pins to join on the cartridge to bypass. Where's the other cap I removed? Over here. There we go. So we put the leg through, and you can look here as well as one where you can get quite easily confused. See the little plus there? So that little plus there where I'm pointing at with the cap leg, and there's a plus sign here all mixed in with a silk screen, and there's a plus sign here that's referring to this one. You just have to be careful that you notice the right plus. You might think this one is here for positive, but it's this one here. So long leg positive goes in positive. Just make sure you get your polarities right, and then pushing it through. You can see these ones, because what they've done on the Jag has made the leg spacing more for this kind of cap spread out, where it has a pre-bent leg. Because ours don't, we'll find that we can actually push ours in, and we won't need to bend the legs because they actually don't fall out. But you normally, it's just habit with me, especially because it already does normally fall out. You bend the legs like that so that the cap stays in while you're moving the board around. That's the reason why you bend the legs normally. How big's the mat? Let me pull up another window a second. Oops, oh, I didn't want to do that. Just messed up all my window positions. It's Amazon. It's on Amazon as well. I can pull it up a second. So it is this one, basically. Oh, I'm clicking on the stream, not the screen. So Leash Boss, it is, I've got the 64 by 43 centimeter, and they do a bigger one as well. They do a 76 by 56, so even larger. But this is the perfect size for my desk. Basically, it fits in. You see, it literally fits between the two lights I've got. Like, ideal size for my desk. Right, so that is new caps in. Right, let's get the rest out. So I'm going to do these two others, which are them two. Get the orange ones out now. And to be honest, I wonder how easy these are to just, these seem quite low temperature vias. I don't normally like to use a soldering iron because there's more risk of damaging traces, but to be honest, look how quick that is. This hasn't got much thermal mass on the board, so we'll still use the hot air to desolder wick, but, oh yeah, they literally fall out, so could have saved a ton of time. And now, to be honest, if they're that low thermal mass on the board, is desolder wick even going to just do the job here? I don't normally do desoldering with an iron like that because there's not normally enough thermal pass through to remove caps and clear holes and stuff, but the fact that these have just dropped out, maybe the Jag has got really low temperature pass through. Oh, not even on the camera, I'm doing the other one. Yeah, so it's clearing the holes very easily. Yeah, so it's one of the very few boards where actually you can do the older way of doing things, I guess, the way that doesn't normally work for me on most systems, which is just desolder wick and an iron. You don't normally get the pass through on the vias enough to clear the holes, so that's why I normally hot air the holes free. Yeah, these are, I'll have to bear that in mind. This is one of the consoles where it's actually really easy to do. So yeah, there you go, straight away. This is why I don't normally do this method, because as soon as we hit a ground plane, you're not clearing the hole. So yeah, ignore that. Do the way I do it, which is just hot air and desolder pump. So we need this hole here. But yeah, so the way that people struggle with clearing the holes, mainly because of something like that. As soon as you get the slightest thicker pad with a hole that isn't the right size, you'll get issues desolder wicking. Even if you use like goot wick solder and a thicker iron tip and all sorts of things, just far more work. Just grab a hot air station and just desolder pump the hole. You're not touching it, you're not scraping it with copper or brass, you're just nice and easy, no damage. Oh, we've missed one here as well, a 10 microfarad there that we took off and didn't put back in. Not last say that. There, yeah, it's 10 microfarad, we forgot to put that one in. So he's 10. Ooh, hot board. And these two are the higher voltage 10. So just solder all them legs up now. Oh yeah, sometimes we get a whole bunch of recaps in. I think we've got them in at the minute, to be honest. There's a lot of recaps. You tend to find they come in waves, where, to be honest, it's one of the most popular things to do, because obviously it's what needs doing on the consoles before they die. Yeah, you can. I kind of like it. I think it works well on streams because I don't have to focus that much. I'm not using my brain. I'm not having to think about how to repair something or what's going on. And it also passes the time more, as opposed to sitting on your own in a room for hours. I had to find pleasure in it because we were getting that many that if I wasn't enjoying recaps, I wasn't getting out of them. Like they are a big part of this kind of work, as you do need to recap the systems and obviously prevent them from leaking and doing more damage. Brand of silicon mat, I pulled it up on screen a minute ago. It is this one, so it's an Amazon, well, it's not Amazon, but it's sold on Amazon, Leash Boss splash mat. Mine is the XL, but they do an XXL as well. They do cream, blue, black, and grey. Rusty's got a grey mat as well to match my work mat, so we have to have the same mat. The one thing I don't have, I did have the Jag CD, but I repaired a customer's and ended up using mine for donor parts, and then I just never brought one again. So I've got the game, but no, I've never gone and brought another one yet. Yeah. My dad would be proud he's an electrician. But yeah, it's only because I'm on camera. Nah, I always like to keep everything clean. Right, so we have 3 more here. We've got the 2.2. Let's do them one at a time. So I'm going to try the removal using a soldering iron because that seemed to work well, which doesn't normally work well. That's why I'm surprised by it. You don't normally get many caps off with just an iron. They're normally quite resistant to passing enough heat through to not tear traces, but the last one I just did seemed very, very easy. Yes and no. I'll get this one off using that way, but yeah, I think we were just lucky on them other caps. I don't like the fact that it's not fully warming up the cap when we're doing this. So I'll come to the other side, get this one out safely for now. But yeah, I'll stick to the method I always use, which is the hot air. It's more consistent and it always prevents any chance of damaging the traces, basically. So that one's that out, and that is a, we say 2.2? Yeah, 2.2. So that will be this one. Yep, there we go. Oh yeah, recapping's an art in itself, to be honest. There's still people that, like, I don't think I ever really struggle with them anymore. You can make mistakes and stuff, but it's one of them things that I see messed up one of the most, because it's the classic, the reason I'm using hot air here, it's not having enough heat when you're removing them, or even if you've got enough heat, what can happen is the heat on the iron isn't transferring through the board good enough, and you end up either burning the board because the heat's on the board not necessarily flowing through the pins. So say you're going to put the iron on nice and hot, so you've got plenty of heat, and you're putting it on here, but it's not flowing through to the cap leg enough, so you end up burning the board here, or you don't have enough heat and the cap's still in, and when you pull you rip traces. So I think the biggest part of people's issues with recapping is the way to remove them and put them back on, but you'll see me pretty much all the time. I use hot air to remove them, a desolder pump, and purposely a silicon tipped desolder pump, because anyone that's using the desolder pump guns without the silicon tip, I can absolutely guarantee you, if you haven't torn a trace, it's simply because you've not worked on enough systems, or you're some kind of god, because there's no way you can use the desolder pumps with the metal tips that are hot, touch on and pump, and not rip it when you're doing like a tiny trace like this one here. I tried it recently again because some people were like, oh, you should use the desolder pump, and I thought maybe it was just a skill issue, so I got the Hacko back out, give it another go, did it on an Amiga, I think it was. Literally touched the leg down, so super careful, touched the desolder pump down, pressed the button, lifted up, and it had cut through a trace straight away. So I just don't believe in the guns. I think they need the silicon tip. If they did a gun with a silicon tip, or I adapted mine, then yeah, you could maybe use that, but I think getting skilled with the hot air at it is the better answer. Right, so that's the new one. Get these soldered on. Surface mount caps, no, they're not polarised. You can get tantalums that are polarised, but no, the surface mounts aren't polarised. So all these little ones here, they won't be polarised. And I'd normally do a surface mount recap on this system as well, other than the power circuit here. I'm just choosing to, don't know why, I just figured I'd shown you guys SMD recapping quite a lot, and I thought I'd just show you the old-fashioned way, in a sense, the aluminium recaps. So we've got this one to get off next, which is here. Make sure I take the right one off, and then take off one I've only just put on. Yeah, the iron to remove. The main issue, like I say, it could still be a skill thing, because I don't like to do it, since I've seen too many issues with torn traces using a soldering iron. But the main thing I find with the heat, regardless of how much you have, I tend to find it's when you're removing the cap and it starts to come out and you're hitting the iron from the underside, the top vias, so the vias on top here are the things that cool down. So the cap starts coming out, then the vias are cooling as you're lifting, and then it snags at the top via and lifts out. I think that's what's caused a lot of people's issues with torn traces. I think it's that, obviously, while the cap is in the board and you're pulling it out, it's obviously the legs of the caps are supplying heat to top and bottom of the via. As soon as it leaves that bottom via and the iron's still on the bottom via, there's a lot less heat transfer. The top cools down and the leg snags. I think that's my theory as to why, at least I know loads of people tear traces with soldering iron and recap. That's why I don't tend to do it. What was this one? I forget again. 2.2. This is the audio bulk cap, so I'm going to upgrade this one to 10, because this is literally bulk capacitance for the audio amp. It'll help with the audio. We are working on an Atari Jag, so it's an old retro console, obviously, that looks like this. Cartridge-based system. So we have cartridges that go in, so you've got like a nice cartridge-based system, and the customer's having a full recap, so replacing the capacitors. This is the awesome controller that I know a lot of people have never seen. So this is the controller we have to use, and yes, all these buttons do end up getting used in some games, so unfortunately you need this kind of controller to play the games, which I'm just not a big fan of. I've never got used to it yet. But this is a customer's one that sent it in along with a PC Engine for basically the caps to be replaced before they see issues. So they don't have issues at the minute, but they want to obviously ensure that they continue not to see issues. Alright, so we've got the 10 here, we've got one there, so we've got one more 10, which is that one. You can probably see, I'll zoom this in a bit, probably get a bit of better angle. I've seen this happen. Yeah, look at that, quite good. It's just about on its focus limit, I think there, maybe move it back a bit. Up a bit. Is it going to pick up on the focus? I think it wants to focus on outside, but just so you can see roughly the distance I'm away with the hot air. And then I just grip on here and I just gently like wiggle, looking at the back side for seeing if the pins start to free up. This one will probably free up a lot quicker because it's on the edge of the board, so there's nowhere for the heat to travel on the top side at least, so this will probably warm up a bit quicker than the other ones. So that's now wiggling. One side, just waiting for the other side to free up. There we go, they're both wiggling, so now I can pull it out. So that's how I always remove them safely, to make sure before you pull, you know for a fact there's no risk of damaging one of the traces. Whoa, that's a weird camera angle. I can't figure out where I have to move that to get it in in shot, because it's a over my shoulder angle. So we're down here, so there we go. Oh yeah, that's so strange, that positioning of that camera at this angle. Oh yeah, you can't see because my arm gets in the way anyway. So that was a 10. So this is the last 10. Must have missed one. The board is hot. Try not to touch it. And then we'll just get them soldered in. Early on a Sunday night. This is late. We've been on for an hour and a half now streaming, and I was late to come on. I lost the box with switches in. We need to do a region mod on, and I still never put the guide on the wiki yet, so I'm gonna have to try and remember what I did. I learned all this just self-taught, everything. So buy stuff, figure it out, break it, fix it. I've got the Hacko rips traces. Choking on my water. This thing, I mean, I can show you me ripping a trace with it if you want. It's I don't want to do it on the customer's board though, but these are the exact guns I'm saying are terrible, at least for me. But the fact that the tip is just pure metal and it's circular, what happens with these is, when you go over, say, you were desoldering, say this, it isn't super thin, but you'll get many consoles where this is really thin, and you'll just literally touch over. So you'll put this over to warm up like this. You don't even have to move or wriggle, and you'll just press the gun to desolder. But because the tip of this metal touches this trace, it just naturally burns through the trace. It's not even a movement thing. I proved it by kind of putting the iron on and not moving it, pressing the button, lifting off, and just the pressure of a hot tip on the edge can burn traces on certain consoles. So it won't happen on, probably wouldn't happen on a Jag because they're quite decent traces, but you work on, say, arcade boards or something else, and you're gonna rip through traces. At least I've done it enough times that I know I don't trust that tool, and I've had many desolder pumps. None of them work for me personally. It's something that I wouldn't touch again unless they made a silicon tipped desolder pump. That's why I use the hot air. Somebody that already has qualifications. I'm not an educated man in any way, so in terms of education wise, I'm not sure what you'd already know, but I can just say that anything I've done, hands-on practical, is the way to learn anything for me. So it's always good to learn knowledge and to read up and have some book knowledge, but you need to put that into practice and have a go at stuff, and you'll soon start asking questions yourself as how things work once you start trying to do something. So you could read something, or at least for me, I could read about something, sounds like it makes perfect sense, then I come to do something hands-on and immediately either forget what we'd read, or what we'd read doesn't quite apply to this exact situation, and you start having questions almost straight away. So doing it yourself and just trying to figure out why things are yourself, than relying on thinking that you'll find answers. I just find the answers myself, and sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, but if I'm wrong, it'll normally show up with an issue, and then you realise you're wrong later and you fix it as well. But just having a go yourself and not being afraid to be embarrassed or have people call you stupid, because I've had that all the way through my life. You'll get people that are smarter than you, dumber than you, afraid of your knowledge. You get all sorts. You've just got to be confident in yourself, and if you want to learn something, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't care what other people think, because pretty much nobody is out for you, especially these days. Nobody likes success at all. So if you're doing well, or you're smart, or you're learning stuff, you're going to get a lot of kickback more than you're going to get people patting you on the back. So you just got to have self-confidence and believe in what you know, believe in your own knowledge, and that's a lot of the reason why I'm where I am, because people don't deter me. I've had literally more people in my life put me down than big me up, and it just doesn't bother me. I'm not interested in what people say, in a sense. It's like, I enjoy conversation with people, I enjoy working with people, but if people don't agree with what I'm thinking or what I want to do, I'll still do it anyway. And I don't form a negative opinion of the people that are also not believing in you. That's just human nature. They're not you, so you do you, and if you want to learn something, just go for it. Just don't be put off, basically. Just as long as you don't give up, you'll get somewhere. And most people give up because people get put down. So just, like I say, don't be afraid to fail. And the amount of times I'll tell stories of things I've done that are stupid, people then think you can't do your job, but that's literally the truth. We're not all perfect. We all make mistakes, and that's literally the main times you learn is when you do something stupid. I think I've done it on these. I've done it on a Jag before, where I've melted this switch, and I didn't think I could get another one. I had to buy a Jag in order to fix a customer's, until I realised I could find these. But it was probably replacing this LED, I'm guessing, and I've gone, oh, I'll use hot air and hot air this off, and then melted the bottom of this switch. But then all you do with that is, it's not that you don't know how to do your job, it's just something you overlook, and you didn't notice the bit of plastic here, or you didn't realise that even though the plastic's on top, it's touching the bottom. Stuff like that, basically. It's all about having the right state of mind and the confidence that, things aren't perfect, things can go wrong, but it doesn't mean you're lacking knowledge or you're incapable if you can't do something. And you've also got to appreciate that there's always going to be people out there smarter than you, but what does that matter? Then they're not you, and if you see smarter people, learn from them. Don't be like every other smart person that forms a big head and an attitude and thinks they're the king of the world. Learn from them. They're the people you want to stand on the shoulders of. Appreciate them. But there's not many people like that, so unfortunately you've really got to toot your own horn, as it will. You've got to big yourself up in a way, and people are going to not like it either way. Like I say, if you know stuff or you're successful, there's nothing you can do to get people to like that. You just got to accept it. I'm kind of happy in the way that I am stupid, because then you get people that think you're stupider than you are, and you just stay quiet and carry on doing what you're doing, and they soon realise you're actually not as dumb as you come across when you're doing certain things. You're just not afraid to show your weaknesses. Now we've got 3 in a row here, all 1, which are these 3, so we're just going to get all 3 of these off in one go. I think the main one I was learning on was originally the PS3s, doing the obviously when we used to do like the yellow light of death, swapping the caps out, the large NEC caps, and obviously they need some insane amount of heat to remove, and figuring out the best technique to do that, I must have honestly had about 30 PS3s that I brought to work on to just find the best way to remove them. But yeah, I don't envy working on a console or a system that you haven't got and you can't get, because things can go wrong, and then it's like the Mac SE, that Mac SE30 I knew nothing about. I now own 2 or 3 of them, and I had to buy one because that was the only way I was really going to figure it out, was to break it, get a working one and break it, and I couldn't do that to the customers because it was already broken. So I had to go on eBay, buy a working SE30 and willingly and knowingly break it in order to learn. So, like I say, that's where you have to realise that's going to cost you more money than what you'll make there, but I wanted to do it, I wanted to learn. It was enjoyable because it was something I knew nothing about, and I loved the fact that I didn't know anything and I was learning something new. You know, discovering how a console works that I don't know anything about. It gets rarer and rarer the more you work in this job. I've worked on a lot of stuff, so a lot of the things I don't have to think about anymore, and I can tell you what the problems are. We'll have to put him back on as well, that little springs fell off. So it's nice sometimes to actually have things where you start fresh again, as if like you're at the beginning and you're learning, you know, a new system. You apply the exact same principles. You just, well, at least what I do is, like I say, I try to take everything one step at a time and start with like the power rails normally, and then look for clock signals, and probe around the board looking for what's the minimum amount of physical components the board needs in order to boot up, and then just ignore that you don't know a lot about the system and try to learn the basic parts of the system first, like the fundamentals of it. Otherwise, if you try to take on the whole system in one, you're overwhelmed and you feel like you don't know anything, which I definitely had that feeling on the Mac SE a few times, that I thought I'd know more than I did about it, because a lot of knowledge normally applies between systems, but the Mac SE was, obviously with it being more of a computer than a console, quite a lot of the knowledge of the retro consoles didn't really apply to the retro computers. So it's always good to have a challenge as well. It's what keeps you fresh when you have that struggle, and then when you get it working at the end, you're stressed when you're doing it, but at the end it's a nice feeling to fix something that you didn't know anything about a week before, and you've now fixed a problem that, you know, nobody else could fix, sort of thing. The stand to hold the board up, it's just a phone stand. So this is just, it's a Retro 6 Advance. It's a Game Boy Advance stand. Just a generic phone holder, but with rubber, so you don't scratch anything. I just use this. I literally hold my phone on it, and then when I'm doing a recap, my phone just sits on the table while I hold the board up. Oh yeah, that's one of the things when I used to build PCs, when I must have been 17, when I used to work at a place making gearboxes for old rally cars like Ford Capris and all the Mini Coopers and stuff, putting like dog gearboxes in for proper rally races. And I used to build their computers for them because it was cheaper than buying them, and it was one of the first few I'd ever built. And I made the mistake of leaving the power plugged in to the motherboard when I don't know why the power was even plugged in. It was one of the first computers I'd built. I'd built a few for myself and thought I knew more than I did. And I'd left the power plug plugged in and then pushed the RAM into the socket to the motherboard, and obviously the RAM flexes the motherboard when you're pushing it in, and it shorted on the back cage of the computer and blew it up. And obviously this is me as like a 17-year-old that's not had a job for that long, and I'd just blown up a computer worth a few £100, which, well, the motherboard of it. So having to go to the boss and say, yeah, I told you I could build computers, but I've just blown it up, like, that was a bit of a red-faced moment, but they trusted me, and I still build some computers for them and do some IT for them for backup and NAS and stuff, just as a favour, because that's where I started my main work life, so they must still trust me today. You need to get the right tip diameter wise. You have to keep the tips clean. Yeah, I think the tip diameter, maybe reducing it would help, but I think my main concern is definitely just the I think for me it needs the silicon the silicon tip on for me to trust a desolder gun. I've just had too many experiences where these traces are fragile on consoles. So I get what you're saying. Like I say, I see people using them all the time, and people will swear blind the ones that use them they've never torn traces, but that's not my experience with them, and I strongly believe it's just the fact that the tip is, you've got a hot metal surface that's grazing on a very fine thin trace. If it was a silicon tip, there's no reason it shouldn't be. Like if they just put a protruding nib on it, I could convert that. So I might even look at, I don't know, customizing it. Maybe seeing if I can buy something with a silicon tip, if there's a desolder gun with that. That might help with this. But I've got used to this technique, so this technique doesn't even really matter. The one thing I'm going to say here as well, this is one of the things I say to look out for. Perfect example, and I know this because, can you guess what I killed on a Jag and had to buy a Jag? This thing here. So, you know what I mentioned, if you see these tins here, these are line delay. They're basically a long coil, tons of wire wrapped in a coil that add a few nanoseconds, like 10 or 20 nanosecond delay. And it's to time the chroma, so the thing we saw yesterday. Where is my TV gone? 1 second, guys. My smart TV's decided to bugger off and open some apps and install some stuff. There we go. So the chroma on the PlayStation, how it was off colour. Not exactly the same thing, but the fact that chroma has to be timed very accurately. These things are called line delays, and they're very hard to buy these days. So if you get heat near these, you're going to kill them. So do not take these two caps off, or even this one, with hot air. Wow, this thing is literally installing... Why is my TV installing channel 5 and streaming? It keeps swapping channels. What the hell? Stupid smart TV. Alright, go back. There we go. So for these three, we'll cut them out. This is, I think this was a filter for the Luma. I can't remember, but this is like a filter. This has got resistors and caps in. So this also will die easy, and you'll lose colour on the composite if you do that. So for these three, we're going to use an iron to remove them, and desolder wick. We're going to have to use desolder wick to clean the holes, or we can put ceramics here. So let's tackle these three first. Well, I say first, we're near at the end now, but let me try and get these three off with an iron, because you do not want to get hot air in that area. And again, that's something I don't think you'd ever know until you do it and break it. Like you'd presume you can hot air in that area looking at it, so long as you were quick. But you definitely can't, I can tell you now. Do not get hot air in that area. So that's that one out, which is that 4.7 or 47? So, do we have a 47? We should do. Yep, 47. So we'll put him in. Desolder wick. And let's see if we can desolder wick this from the top. So let's see how easy this is. So normally with desolder wick, you want Goot wick, the brand. Zach's got that, but I'm just trying to clear off some of this mechanic stuff because we've got it in stock. But the desolder wick brand will make a massive difference to how well this works. So that one's fine. Let's see if this one's fine. Yeah, there's probably... Yeah, we've got this. One thing you can do here as well, say I really need to clear this hole. This is a trick I've done. Say you have to use your soldering iron, you're having no luck, like this does not want to clear. What I do, and this is a way that will work all the time, if I can find it. There we go. So I just grab a little pokey poke. Don't know what this is from. It was from I think some Pro Bleed kit off AliExpress. What we're going to do is we're going to force the desolder braid into the hole. So get a clean piece. You want to put some solder back on the hole, otherwise it's got nothing to flow to. You want to flux up this, and what we want to do, we want to probably just cut this strip off. We don't need that flying around. We want to place that over you want to put the iron on, and I'm going to, while the iron's on, push this through the hole. And what that'll do is force some of this braid to go inside the hole and wick up that pad. So you have to wait a second and then poke through, and you can feel it go through, and there's your hole clear. So that's a technique I use if you're struggling to get the solder out, and that's because you're basically forcing a bit of this braid through, and then capillary action sucks it through. So it works a treat when you need to remove them, basically. That can be this one we said, 47. Doom. How do you play Doom on the Jag? We just tried it at the start. That controller is so hard to play Doom on. I suppose you just got to get used to the button maps. Maybe I used to play it on PC, so I'm that used to like PC movement. I could not play Doom just. Plus, I've got the whole lag of the stream though. That was not helping me at all. Yeah, I've got one of the solder pots. We used to use it, but I think again, we don't strip that much wire that we didn't want to turn it on and leave it running and wait for it to get up to temp. I think if you're sitting doing a load of it, it's ideal. Stripping the enamel wire is a little bit of a pain, blobbing solder on the tip and pushing it in, but you just get used to certain techniques that work for you. But I'd love a little tool that you can just tap a wire in and strip it without having to wait for it to warm up. That'd be quite cool. Oh yeah, how's the silicon tip on the gun going? Yeah, I'm forgetting that because the hot air is the thing that's heating up, and I use a silicon desolder pump. You know what you need then? You need a desolder gun that blows hot air through the centre and has a silicon tip. That's what you need, which is probably not going to work. Or something with hot air blowing from the side and a silicon tip on, almost like a combined. Yeah, it's a funny one. Yeah, that's why you won't find the desolder pumps that I'm going to use. I bet that's why. Has that come off now? Any other systems to avoid hot air on? There will be. None spring to mind until I see them. Multi-Mega, same thing. Multi-Mega at the front. The reset button, melted one of them before. They're a nightmare to then find replacements for. I did manage to find one on DigiKey that pretty much fit. But yeah, they're another one. It's basically anywhere you see. I think the only thing visibly, if it isn't plastic, the only thing that isn't plastic that you have to tend to avoid is these little metal pots, the delay pots here, delay lines, and this one happens to be a filter that I just know of. But other than that, it's normally anything plastic or any delay lines. They're the only two things I've come across that die easy with heat, and that's about the only time I'd avoid it. Yep, didn't think that one was going to come off for a minute then. Yeah, the Jag power buttons, you can get them on AliExpress now. I didn't realise at the time that they were sourceable, but they're just new old stock in a sense. We've got quite a few in stock. I just don't sell the spare parts anymore. I kind of stopped selling the generic parts that aren't really stuff we've made, and I just tell people where to get them from. It wasn't really worth having that many products on sale. It was easier to manage stock if we just sold what was unique to us and not just like everything. Ooh, it's raining and miserable outside. Like fog and rain. Alright, we've got this one and one more. 10 microfarad. What is that? We've got the 100, which will be that one there, is it? I know we've got 2 more left. 100 and 100, that's them two. C11, let me just check on the schematic a minute for C11. Got a feeling this is one we can uprate as well. Atari, Jaguar. Now can I find it? C11, and I think it's on the output pins. Oh god, this is going to take forever to find. Intuition's telling me this one is one of the ones we can buffer up. I remember this. It goes up to there. Yeah, so yeah, that's the filter into the RF port. So that one I'm going to uprate for smoothing from 10 to 22. And this is just what I remember from when I did this whole kit and I was reverse engineering this a bit and scoping the RF port, like seeing the composite side. You can uprate this one to 22 microfarad. That one, and then we've got 2 left with 100 microfarad, and we're done. Yeah, the console 5 caps are wrong for this system. Ironically, it's one of the main reasons we started making cap kits, because what I mentioned at the start was the caps aren't right and many people sell them wrong. The console 5 cap kit sells the complete wrong cap for this one here, and it took us days to debug an issue on the Discord that a customer had after recapping. And what it caused is, because it wasn't the correct ESR, that when a game used a high address pin that's up here, literally it would make the game red screen, and it took forever to realise it was the ripple on the power supply since recapping that led ultimately to the furthest point away from this got more ripple. So these 2 chips here were then not functioning correctly and interpreting a high signal as a low and reading data wrong, and it's still to this point there's multiple caps on their site that are sold completely wrong. Multiple systems, we've seen it not just once and not just us, we've got loads of customers that have confirmed that their cap kits aren't right. They've got the guides. Was that a strand of copper? See, I didn't think it was, but yeah, I think it is a strand of copper. I thought it was a hair, but yeah. Oh, that'll be off the desolder wick that's stuck onto the cap. Turn that around. There. So probably best just snapping that off. Zoom in. Yeah, that's the desolder braid. That is just must have caught into the cap. I thought it was a bit of fluff when I was cleaning it, but yeah, you're right. Right, so that's another bit stuck to there. And then I don't think there's nothing underneath now. Yep, that's all good, that's gone. Nice spot there, that was. Right, so the last 2 are these 200s. Same thing, I'm just going to use the iron to get these off with them being close to that area. Top and bottom, so it's them 2. It's something that a lot of people have wanted us to do as well as the capacitor maps, but the reason I don't do them for a lot of systems is, like, when you're recapping, maybe I do the recapping different, but when I'm recapping I just take them off, look at what's come off and put them back on. And if I'm not sure what the value is, there's also the schematics, but I guess for quickness it is a good thing to have, but it's not something I've ever spent the time doing. It's not massively exciting for me, so I don't choose to do that at the minute. And there's also the other resources for that, obviously, to be able to, it's not like, you know, they don't exist, but Yeah, this is what I mean with the pads not wanting to flow through. I hate doing the soldering iron removing of caps though. That should flow enough through now. Where's he gone? Oh, he's fell off. There we go. There's one out. And I'm going to try, because this is a bit close to plastic there. No, I should be able to get it. I was going to say I'll try this side. Desolder wicking from the bottom side, but we do have enough room here, so should be able to get in there. This is definitely going to need a stabby stab to get through. And this is going to need actually doing from both sides as well, because that even pushing through, it's not getting enough heat to the other side of the board. Yeah, this one's going to be a nightmare. Just about got it, I think. I mean, in fairness, I also don't have the largest tip on the iron. If this was a technique I was going to use to clear holes regular, I'd definitely improve what I'm doing here. Because that, I want to say this, I'm going to get a bit of hot air on this, not too much, but just to get the temp flowing. I almost want to say there's pins stuck in there, but I've taken the cap out. Ah, the cap leg's broke. So the cap leg snapped off. I wondered why it wouldn't clear. So I'm just going to get a bit of heat on, not too much, just to give the overall board a bit of warmth, and then I'll go back with the iron. That's enough warmth there. Let's go back in with the iron. Let's see if I can lift this leg out. See, this would be really easy with hot air, but yeah, that leg does not want to come through. Strange because you can't even see the leg from the other side. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Where are we? This bit here. So just clean this up. It's got a bit of don't know what the black is. Is it crusted? I've got crusted flux. So you can see that little sticky bit there. That's the leg of the cap that's snapped when we've taken it out. But you can feel it and grab it with tweezers. But to try and get the heat enough to lift out, this is a bit of a nightmare. Like you really need to hot air that out to get that out. Yeah, cool. Catch you maybe tomorrow, Hugo. Thanks for joining in. We don't do a full cap kit for the original Xbox now. Right, what I'm going to do for this one then, because it's 100 microfarad, I am just going to use a ceramic here to make my life easier, because I don't want to risk hot airing this one out because of that line filter. So we'll just replace this one with a conventional ceramic, much better solution. It's in the area right by both the delay line and the line filter. There's no way I'm risking hot air in that area, because that is literally the area that dies. So customer's got a 90% original aluminium cap style recap, but we're going to have one here, ceramic. Which obviously, if you knew, if I was going to do ceramics, this job would have taken about 15 minutes, but just kind of wanted to show you guys the recapping of aluminium's, how, you know, most other people will recap systems. If you try and warm the pads up simultaneously at both sides, you'll tend to find the cap, if it behaves, would normally self-center. That's what I'm trying to show you there, but instead all we've ended up with is a massive over-solder mess. That's probably because of that cap lag getting in the way, letting it flow natural. So you'd normally just have to flow the solder both sides quick, and this thing would like line up, but like I say, it's not plain ball even for that, so we'll just center it manually. Yeah, just think that's close enough. Hot air would make it just flow into place natural as well. That's close enough to center. It's just a visual thing. So the last cap, we didn't. Oh, we did have a mark on that. I just wiped it off. We did swap all them three. Will be this one, another 100. This one's out the way though of anything risking heat, so we can go back to the normal technique. So we're not struggling for no reason then. We've got this one here, them two pads. And now we can hot air this one out nice and quick. I probably could have like used the iron and the tweezers and stuff. It's just don't think it was worth it. The ceramic's going to do the same job, and I was only really showing you the aluminiums to kind of show you the technique of doing this. But I don't want to risk damaging the customer's board for the sake of showing you a different way of doing the caps. And I could probably just use a bigger tip as well. Like my soldering iron tip isn't super large, so if you're going to do recaps this way, if I was going to do this regular, I don't normally do it this way, I'd probably put a larger tip on the iron to help with heat flow basically. Last one out. Last bit of desolder pumping. While it's still hot, make sure we aim the air well away from the line filter up here. That's how easy it should be. And now positive is this side. So we see the little plus there. And the last two legs to solder. Right, so as soon as we're done, I like to clean up the desk. I don't bother cleaning up in the middle of recapping, there's kind of no point. Just make the mess and then clean up after. But now we're at a stage where we're changing over. Let's clean everything up. Get the foam back on the stand. Desolder pump away. Tools away. These in the box is screws. So what I'll do now is I'll bag up the caps for the customer, just so they know the work's been done. Put his screws in the tub. And put everything back. And now let's clean this desk up. Cleaned up. And now I guess the question is, does it still work? So I'll just do a quick visual of the work we've already done, make sure we're happy with everything we've got here. Check the cap polarities as well, so we want to quickly eye up every cap and make sure that the white line on the caps, so these white lines are the opposite side of where the pluses are. So you see the little plus on the board there, that's indicating that the negative is on the other side, so the white line should be always away from them. So we just check every one visually and make sure that the white lines are away from the pluses. And we've done one wrong, so that's why we check. We've done C39 wrong, so he's in the wrong way around, definitely. And that seems to be the only one. So the only thing we've done wrong is this one here. See this one, the plus is there, but we've put the cap in backwards, so you just need to flip him around. Up early, early-ish, I think 6-ish, just before 6 I think I was up, and then jumped on stream probably about 20 past 6 I think. I wonder if I can then get this back in without taking the solder out, if I can hot air it and poke it back through. Yes, there we go, that's cheating. I've managed to poke the hot air the cap, twist it round and poke it back in without having to desol the pump and do all the rest. So where are we? We are this one here. So he's now in the right way. So now we're good to test this. No, this is pretty much standard. I normally work at normally start work at 6-ish. But for a Sunday, yeah, I probably won't do much more. I've got another car I need clean. I only could be bothered to do 2 yesterday. And then Don't know, we'll do something other than work today. Right, so let's leave that open because I've still got to do the region mod switch, which I'm not going to do today because I think this is long enough and the sun's up. So I'll leave it open for the region mod, but let's try and power this thing up. So we've got the power. Got the flash cart. Controller. An AV port. And moment of truth, did we mess anything up or not? So power in, fingers crossed nothing's wrong. So that's just hopefully that's just a dirty cartridge port. No, there is something wrong then. Let's just try with another game. Doesn't like the flash cart for some reason, so that one's working, but I don't like the sound on this. Funnily enough, the part where I say it likes the low ESR cap, I don't like the sound in that region. Yeah, that one's working fine. Wonder if it just is, because it had a dirty cartridge port before, so I'm wondering whether it's just still dirty cartridge port. Yeah, it's just dirty cartridge port, so just what we had in the first place. I think we just had it the other way around the last time. We had the hover strike didn't want to boot, and obviously we cleaned the hover port, put IPA in there, and then it booted, so when we put the flash cart in the second time, that worked, and we did it the other time this way. Right, so turn them off, we're good for that. What was that game we wanted to play? Oh, the Atari cart. Yes, there it is. Let's see what this is like. I think I want to make a regulation circuit for this as well, like a clean power circuit, to replace that power circuit on the Jag, because it's got no reverse polarity protection either. So it's kind of an issue, because if you ever plugged in the wrong polarity, you blow the system up. So I think I want to make a mod for that as well. Alright, let's have a go with this Mario Kart clone then. I've never played this before. What? This is weird. That Halloween. Select a challenge. You can only select beginner. Right, who shall we go for? Oh, it's got to be octopus on it. Pulpito. Oh, these are quite funky actually. So we've got what looks like a crazy eagle. Volky, he's definitely an alien. He looks like a future armor alien. I want to go with the octopus. Pulpito. That text is really hard to read. Beginner's Cup. Let's start with something easy. Bring that around. There we go. The Jag. I want to say 1990-ish. I'm not sure. I've got them all wrote down. I used to remember them all off the top of my head. Game Gear was like 89-ish, and I think the Jag wasn't far. Actually, it might be earlier than that because the Lynx, I bet, was competing with the Game Gear. Somebody Google it and find out. I think it's. I want to say probably 87. I'm going to guess at. This is literally almost a. Yeah, it's very close to a Mario Kart. This is definitely inspired by Mario Kart. It's quite cool. Not doing too bad considering the stream lag as well. This is playing straight off looking at this live stream, so I've got like a lag on here. It's not as good as Mario Kart though, definitely not. Not as many things going on. And can we do any specials or anything? Pause. No, it doesn't look. Oh, I've managed to quit the game doing that. Yes, that's not the most exciting one. Let's try another one. I mean, it looks cool, but pretty boring. There's not much going on in it. Yeah, that hiss I think is just because the lid's off. So if you cover it, the sound's basically gone. I think just because the cover's off, you can hear that little bit of hissing. But that'll be. We can scope this to be sure. I'll scope it to make sure we're not getting too much noise. But this is that regulator I'm talking about. That if you don't have the right cap, which this should be the right spec, that's the whole point of this cap kit, you'll get noise. But it will be a slightly noisy circuit because the layout of this, you're meant to have a very tight controlled loop on boost and buck circuits, and this has got a very large loop due to this inductor. So it's naturally not a good regulator circuit, but I just noticed because I've powered it off with the lid off, I can hear more noise than when the lid was on. But like I say, cover it with the hand, noise is totally gone. So you can't, I literally can't hear that with my ear now. So I just suspected that was a problem with it not booting, but no, that was fine. This cart wouldn't load if we had issues with the regulator because it'd be too noisy. Bubsby was another one, is it? Bubs? Yeah, Bubsy. Somebody recommended this one. I can obviously cover that up as well. If that slides down, no, we'll have to cover it like that. There we go. Yeah, it's a big well, I say a big known thing. I know about the cap kit issue. People on the server know about the cap kit issue on Discord. I first discovered it when, funnily enough, it was this exact thing doing an Atari Jaguar. Oh, this is cool. And basically, some parts of some retro systems need low ESR caps or dual polarized caps, like bipolar caps, things like that, and those details were overlooked, I'm guessing, by whoever does the cap kits for Console 5. They were wrong, and they still are to this day, based on... Oh, I didn't see that bird. They're still wrong as far as I know right now, and they still don't work, basically. So, the cap kits I make, that's why we don't have that many yet. I'll always use them in a system myself and check that everything works, so you won't see a cap kit go on the site until I've done a recap with them several times, and even then I just haven't really bothered to release more cap kits in a while. I've just been busy. But no, I don't just go ahead and find the list of caps and list them. I'll physically install them in consoles and make sure they're good. So you shouldn't ever have issues with our cap kits, basically. But I'm sure most of the cap kits are fine because there's not that many with that kind of demand, but it's definitely a thing that they can't be being installed in consoles, or maybe it's just overlooked and a mistake that's since been fixed. But I've personally seen that issue myself, and them birds are a pain. They definitely cut through you. Yeah, so it's just a thing to bear in mind if you're gonna buy cap kits from there. Just make sure if you see any special requirements to either ask them and double check they know, it was an issue and have they fixed it, or if we've got them, just buy off us, or just buy your own off DigiKey. We buy in like mass. We buy like 4,000 of every cap at a time, straight from factories, and kit them up so we can give you a decent price, and you don't have to mess around with, sourcing a small volume of caps from DigiKey and the postage costing you more than buying a cap kit. Plus it's nice to just have sometimes a bag where you've got all the cap kits in one place like I've just used. Oh no. This one's quite good. I like this. Quite good. I like that one. Let's try Zool, I think was the other recommended one. Let's have a quick go with that. Zool 2. Yeah, I think the Xbox, we do quite a lot of them. I probably will make a cap kit for that. Again, it'd be a combo of ceramics and aluminiums. The power rails would be aluminiums. The super cap would obviously be the super cap. And then most of the ones on the system we use ceramics, and I've done it multiple times, so I know they're cool. So I can probably make that kit fairly soon, because I think I've got a few Xboxes in for recap as well. Yeah, the CD32 is just the Amiga 1200s, basically, very similar inside. There's a few caps in there to watch out for, just in terms of the close to the internal connectors. So there's somewhere I'd probably just cut the caps out. You can replace almost... Whoa, this one's crazy. I don't know what I'm even doing here with the buttons. You go invisible somehow. How do I keep going invisible? I think some of them in there might need to be aluminium, but I don't think so. I think I've managed to do a full ceramic recap on the CD32s. I just can't remember off the top of my head. I think there's TikToks on it. If you go on my TikTok and then go to the playlists, there is. Can you climb a wall? Somehow, what's he doing? Whoa. Yeah, if you search TikTok, go into playlists, go to Amiga, you should find me doing the CD32 recap on there, and you can take a look. Okay, I don't know how I'm getting up. I don't know the buttons of this at all. And why does he slide? Yeah, I'm literally stuck. Anyone know how to get up here? I've managed to grab on the wall somehow. How is he... See, why does he stop sometimes? And not other... Oh, this is strange. I don't understand what's making him stop. No buttons seem to make him stop. See, and then he climbs to there. Oh, he'll only climb to there and get stuck. I guess you can't go up. Let's try another one. Laser active. I've done 3. One worked that wasn't recorded. Another one was an issue that we tried to fix with the laser, and I don't think the customer wanted to continue to pay basically for the further work. And another one was I can't remember what the third one was, but I think out of the 3, one was fixed and the other 2... No, sorry, actually. One was fixed in the physical store. One was fixed that wasn't on TikTok, and I think the only other one we did on TikTok was the one with the laser issue that the customer didn't really want to carry on for the diagnostics. It wasn't worth their time, basically. Wonder if they have... It'd be nice if they had some arcade shooters. Oh, they got Pitfall. Wonder if that's like the better version of the 2600. this should be good. If this is a remade version, oh, it is as well. It's like an improved version of the 2600. This is going to be well good. Oh yeah, that's a wicked. If you've ever played the 2600 Pitfall, obviously with your crazy low graphics, this looks ace. I like the look of this one. Yeah, I do play games. I normally go on Fortnite on my own. I've got no friends that played. So the kids used to play it with me, and then they went off and played with their own friends. One guy that used to work for me played it, but he doesn't work for me anymore, so doesn't play with me anymore. So I literally go on Fortnite on myself sometimes. That's about the only modern game I play other than like the Halo remakes and Halo Infinite. And then other than that, I play retro games, so I'll like, you know, replay the Resident Evils at the minute, and on the handhelds I'm playing Pokemon. So I've played Pokemon Red, Blue and Yellow. I've done Gold in the Johto area, and I'm back in Kanto, so I need to finish that. Actually, I've left that. Wow, I can't get past this point with the lag. I've left the Gold now, finished the Gold area, and I've just started Emerald. Yeah, you'll have to send me an email. You can jump on my friends list of 2, and then when I go on it, you can jump on with Fortnite. I'm a PC player, obviously, so whether that matters to you. Oh wow, I can't play this game with lag, but this looks really good. I'm just going to maximise it on my screen a minute. Oh yeah, that looks well good. Looks a little bit dark. Oh, I know why I probably turned down the OSSC gain, but I love the graphics on this. When you've come from playing the 2600 Pitfall, this looks so cool. No, go, go, go. This is actually hard as well. Ah. Oops, turn that off. Insignia, I haven't played it yet. I want to. Again, it's the same thing. I build up an Xbox and then a customer ends up buying it. It's like if I sell one and I've built one for myself, I feel guilty having one sitting there. So then I finish it off for the customer if it's, you know, needs some mod changes. So again, I've just built myself the PlayStation yesterday. I need to build myself an Xbox again and get back on Signia. I think I've got an account probably called Retro6 or Angel6, like a username. But I'd like to play the original, like Halos and stuff. In fact, Halo wasn't online. Probably the Unreal Tournament I'd play on Insignia. I think that's it then for the work side. I'm going to do the region switch later. I might jump back on, I might not. But the sunlight's up now, and I'm going to go get on with some other work. Well, at least that's the recap all done and still working. Ah, yeah, the buzz-off kit for the Vectrex. Oh yeah, Halo 2. I forget Halo 2 on the Xbox. Yeah, I'll probably jump on that when I've actually built my Xbox back up, basically. So I'll catch you guys either later or probably tomorrow. See how things go, and hope you enjoyed this one.